howdy, and hello. This is episode 28 of the High Vibe Human Experience Hangout with Heidi. And I'm your host, Heidi Pop. Yay! And I love having a conversation with high vibe people. I call them way showers, walking the walk, talking the talk, doing their thing, lighting up the airwaves, yada, yada, yada. And a super big shout out to Garrel and Jane. There are little mods in the chat. I see you now. Hello, folks. They introduced me. They said, Heidi, you've got to check out this gal's channel. Like she's where you live. She's in LA. She's live streaming. She's not streaming. She's nothing but high vibes. Look at I'm stumbling on my words. I'm already speed talking. You see me? I'm talking so fast.
I'm saying them.
You see him, right? Yeah, I'm so grateful they did that because and thank you, Mindy, for replying, because then I found you on Instagram. I started writing you. I'm like, can I interview you? Then we started talking, and here we are. So thanks for being here, Miss Mindy Willens. How are you?
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Heidi. And guys, the more I talk to I'm backwards. The more I talk to Heidi, the more I see that she and I are just cut from the same cloth in so many ways.
We have a little energetic thing going on, I think. Sisters from another mister.
I love your voice. I love your personality. We both have a background working with kids. We're both teachers. We're both singers. We're both lovers. We're both like positive people. And you just exude love and glow.
And I mean, we're creatives. We're creative beings. We're creating content. We're building community with these lovely chats. Hello, I see you there. I see some of your peeps, Mindy. Welcome to the chat, you guys. Thanks for coming to play. And we're also activists. Yep. We're like the cutest, nicest activists I think you'll ever meet. But I do like bringing awareness to things that, don't always get a positive spin on the awareness of it. So I'm sure we'll talk about all those things. So if anyone ever has a question, please chime it in. I'll try to keep up best I can. Howdy, Pancho. Hey, Sancho. I have a Pancho and a Sancho in there. Hi, Chiro. Hello, folks in there. Roger Blair. Good to see you. Aren't you at work? Super sweet. Hi, Moon. Lovely to have you. Well, first and foremost, I want to ask you, because you have a new book coming out. You've written children's books, but you have a dating book. Tell me about the book writing. Like, how'd that come about?
My first book that I wrote was inspired by my sister, who I had lost, and it's right here. It's a hero named Nikki. My sister Nikki is my sister, and I wrote it because I work with kids, and I've always loved reading to them, and I love going to the library with them. And there are so many books that I just adore and love bringing into people's awareness as they're becoming, learning how to read and becoming readers. And then there are so many books where I'm reading it and I'm going, I think I could do better than that. We all have our own ideas, and I just went off and made my own. And I've decided within myself that I just always want to continue writing more and more. I'll always be working on another one. So I'm never done. And maybe one day I'll have 20. And it's just something that I love to do from my heart. It's so I have another one that's coming out. Hopefully it was supposed to already come out, but what's been going on with my mom, it's kind of been delayed. But any day now, I'll have it coming out really soon, and I'll make an announcement about it. And
beautiful.
So that's
before. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Before, I do want to share about your mom. So your mom's healing right now. She went through a major surgery, and you're there taking care of her. But if anyone has caught one of Mindy's lives with her mom in it, I think she's just lovely as can be. You guys are who's the daughter? Who's the mother? Like they're one of those mother-daughter duos. But she's just fabulous. And I love too that your chat, everyone's support, it's such a big supportive community you have on your live streams. And here too. Hello, everybody. But she's doing well. She's doing all good. She's okay.
She's doing great. Yeah, she's doing great. She's healing way faster than anticipated. She's awesome. She's just an overachiever, and just like I joke around about it, but I'm just so grateful that she, she made it through the surgery. It went all really well, and I couldn't be more pleased with the outcome.
Good. Oh, there's their channel. Thanks, Carol. Yep, we love Mama. They all love the Mama. I think you guys were eating sushi. I'm just like, I remember there was like a 5-hour stream or something, and I kept
Oh,
sitting in. It was, but you were downtown though, I think. Or no?
we were outside the Scientology testing center, and we before the surgery date, I wanted to make sure, we're all scared, we're lucky if there is the opportunity to help her heal afterwards. We're lucky if there is an after, with some there's complications that can happen in these surgeries. So before the surgery, I definitely just wanted to like fill that time up with like outings, and I didn't know how long, even if the surgery goes well, we didn't know if she's going to be laid up for 2 months or longer or shorter. So just wanted to kind of fill her time up with some real fun times and fun memories to leading up to a scary moment. And so that's why you saw a lot of us, and we went down to the you mentioned to me before the thing, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, she was in a dress.
I was dressed as
incredible singer.
It was thank you. We love Wizard of Oz, and there's this Beverly Hills Wizard of Oz escape scavenger hunt event that they lead you through on an app, and it was great to be together. Dan Walks LA came out and supported, and he's just a lot of fun, a great positive person.
I love that. And can you share? I mean, she had a double. Can we?
Yeah. She had a double mastectomy. She had hyperplasia, and gosh, you know what? I blanked for a second.
Sure.
She had it all taken out, and her stomach put up here. And I joke around because of the Wizard of Oz things. They took my nipples off and they threw them over there, and they took my stomach and they put it over here. You remember that part of Wizard of Oz, like the stroke?
Yes.
And they took my legs, they threw them over there.
Yeah. I remember you on your live, those things. The doctors were even like, you are so past, you are way down the road of healing, doing a wonderful job. So I find that attests to the communities too, because everyone's sending these positive vibes, and I'm all about that. I'm all about energy and energy exchange, and when you can be surrounded in the positive light. I mean,
I
get hippy dippy.
So much positive, so many positive messages from people, and I so appreciate all of the love and support. I had a fear of people kind of like maybe doubting my dedication to the cause or the movement by taking this time that I need for my family. And none of us signed up for specific hours, or it's all volunteer. And, some people, we have to take time for our own mental health, even if an emergency isn't happening. So just like as a reminder that it's so appreciated. Like when at least I can speak for myself as a streamer, like even if you don't see me for a couple of days, to not think that, oh, Mindy doesn't care anymore. I really appreciate those of you who are just like, Mindy, I miss you. I haven't seen you. Or, and a kind, just keeping in touch that way is really appreciated.
Absolutely. Yes. I've said that too, especially during the school year, because I'll be teaching kids. I had third graders, and I'm like, my 3D comes first. Like, I've got to focus on the kids and the family, and I'll get back to this as soon as I can. And, the supportive peeps out there, they get it. But let's talk. I know I'm jumping all over because I want to go back to the kids, and but I love the jump around because you mentioned the movement. And if anyone is unaware, I think we should talk about what that movement is, because that's kind of how we started bonding our stories. But can we lead into it? I mean, you stumbled across it, literally. It was in your neighborhood, and I
literally stumbled upon it.
Yeah, like you're like, what's going on over here, everybody? Like, this looks like a party, and they're like, what are you doing here? What is she doing here? Like,
I didn't know that before I had arrived, there were some leaked emails. I didn't know. I'm not part of I didn't know who Streets was or Jessica. I didn't know that how many people I didn't know the vast number of people that were behind each cell phone that was being held up. No idea.
This is regarding Scientology.
This is regarding Scientology. Yeah. That's right. This was outside of the test center in January. I had seen a bunch of people in front of the test center in the evenings on my way home from work. And I was just like, today I'm going to walk over there and just say, what is this? What's going on? I was never a viewer. I never watched YouTube. I'm not a chatter. I didn't know what a mod was. I never thought I'd ever stream. And I went up there and I just asked what's going on. And there was this whole plant it's so long ago and irrelevant at this point, but the plant narrative that was spun, and I
Meaning
got
you were infiltrating. They thought you were
I
infiltrating,
thought I
like,
was
what's
infiltrating,
happening, and then
get
telling them.
information,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
to like sabotage. And I didn't even know that was going on behind the scenes. I came up and I asked, what's, what is it? And then I went home thinking like, whoa, it's like the Scientologists are really blasting them with loud music, like super loud music, right at the door, right at them.
Yeah.
So like, I know I'm going to come tomorrow and bring them little ear protections. And the next day when I came back, that's when they all were like, there she is. She's a Scientologist is back. The spy is back. And I was like,
Oh, no.
no, I'm not. But
You made it through. Your authenticity shone brighter than anything, and I think that was probably what saved the day. They're like, "Wait a minute, she's pretty genuine." Did that just come through? You just had to keep being yourself?
It's kind of my personality to like try to prove people wrong when they make statements like that about me. And so I came back the next day with like, oh, it was raining outside, so I'm going to laminate some signs and bring them for everyone, like laminated so that doesn't,
so
but then
sweet.
that backfired because the messaging wasn't like, I knew I didn't know what exactly the messaging was. I said, stop Scientology exploitation. And they're like, Mindy says, stop exploiting Scientology. Like everything backfired. And so next day I'm like, blank signs. You guys write them in Spanish, write whatever signs you want. And I wrote like, it's a cult, hashtag not a plant on mine. Oh, there, she's a plant. I've told this to people who've heard it a million times.
I know, but how long did it take for it to flip? Because now, I mean, you're out there, you're cooking food and stuff. Like
for 3 weeks, I was holding a sign and having the streamers were like taking turns coming up to me with their live stream saying, say Xenu, and I was like Xenu, and they're like, say, trying to poke holes in my being, or whenever I talk to somebody who was driving by, they're like, what's this? And I start saying, this is Scientology, it's a cult. And they like the streamers would come up and like film me doing it, like, is she gonna say something wrong? And I didn't have all the information. I knew it was wrong, I knew it was bad. I knew that it's something, I knew that Scientology was something that was so overwhelming that it wasn't anything that I felt like I could make a difference. But I saw these people making a difference, and I wanted to just like I heard, like Cam had said, guys, I'm going home, I'm out of batteries. And I was like, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to bring extra battery packs next time. So I live close enough, like, oh, I can't see over the fence. Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm going to bring my step stool, and just like, I'll be supplies girl.
helper girl. Yeah.
Freezing. Oh, here. So I bought some hand warmer stuff, and I just wanted to, I was still getting the backlash, and people were like, hey, I remember like 4 different streamers, all of whom now in my memory, all of whom are no longer with the movement that I see. But at the time I didn't know who was or wasn't OG at the time. And they came up to me and they're like, why do you stay out here when, it's obvious nobody wants you here. It's obvious that, well, because they were bullying me. They like thought I was a plant, why do you stay out here despite it? And you're not streaming, so you're not here for that. And I was just, I remember saying like, and it might be on somebody's, it might be findable, of me saying like, I do want to say something to everyone, and not talking to you and you and you and you. I'm talking to all of you. Like, I've gotten a lot of messages from people who are afraid to come out, that they're going to be given the same treatment, that they were given the same treatment and they were bullied out, and they're saying like, stick with it. What you're doing is important. And I just want you guys to know that if you're on the fence and you want to help, but you're worried about that, you could stand next to me. You're safe to stand next to me. And more people did come out. Now we have so many wonderful, big-hearted, authentic people who, and some who've come and gone. But, even the person, I don't want people who are sitting at home watching, maybe even right now, saying, hey, you know what? I've got like a couple hours on Saturday. Yes. Yes.
That's where I'll meet you in person. We'll have to do I'll finally meet you in person. And
I would love
come down and say hi and
because
support.
every extra person who's out there, the more people out there, the more that society sees that this is a representation of society's that we disapprove of what Scientology is doing, the bigger group of people that is represented.
It's happening. And yes. And I'm thank you so much for in the chat there. They're chiming in there.
Yeah,
But what
sorry,
I
I wasn't looking.
well, when Gerald referred me to her channel, he goes, by the way, she does the Scientology audit. Or he said something in text. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go do that. I don't want to be a Scientologist. I go, why is Gerald referring me to that? And then I'm like, I'll check it out. And then I checked it out. And then I'm like, holy smokes. I'm in LA, but not of it now. I'm back up in Santa Clarita. And I'm like, I had no idea they're camping in front. I didn't know, once this big judgment came with a couple actors, I thought it was coming and going. Once the documentary came out, I did finally watch it this summer. I was like, holy smokes. And I started putting my old Hollywood stories together of being there and working with, I'll have to share that.
Guys, you have to share this. This is what incredible to me.
It's so crazy. But I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is going on. And then I was like, oh, I was clueless. And then I was binging you for a while and watching Peeps. And even my buddy Gerald sent me to the Scientology audit, Shannon in Chicago. And I wound up sharing some stories over there. But I was like, this is a thing. And this is why I kept all those stories in the back of my mind. I'm like, I know there'll be a view sometimes, but I kind of thought just like their buildings are vacant and they're like pristine, I thought it was like, see no evil, hear no evil, like it was one of those. But I'm like, holy shit, no, the people are rising. And I love that shit. I'm a mom. I've been all about the people rising since 2015, 16, when my rights as a parent, my kids' medical rights were taken away, their right to choose a school. Like I've been on City Hall steps, but I've been doing it with a wink and a smile. And I'm like, wait a second, I wanted to educate, but also I realized people are just angry and the system isn't changing. So I had to start building something new when it came to my kids. With this, I think it's not just about exposure, but it's about showing we support you and we got you. We see what's happening. And if anybody needs to take a step, we got you. And that's what I love. I love that shit. So
I want to come out there, and when I speak in front of the buildings, I want whoever's inside, whoever hears my voice, whoever might be peeking out through, all the windows are covered, whoever might be peeking out to say, oh, like she's a safe person I can go to, like
right.
I won't be ridiculed to come out to her. Everyone has a different style, and all the styles are valid, and all styles work on a different ear, on a different receiver. Right. And I feel like mine's just as valid and important as the more assertive styles.
Exactly. And for those who are new to this channel, I see some of you popping in new. I know supporting Mindy. I do like the high vibe thing. I'm all about frequency and energy. And I worked in Hollywood for 30 years and I walked away March 2020 for medical choice. But what my experience is, and now being a mom and a teacher, is an energy exchange. You can literally flip a room. You can flip it dark. You can flip it light. You can pick on people's energy. Like Minnie, I'm sure you're running into people and like, well, I'm not the plant. They're the plant. I can sense it. Like you just knew your authenticity will carry on. So for that reason alone, I'm like, I guess I meant to meet all these people now, and start sharing some fun bits. So when I saw one video you did and you were on the corner there, I think it's Orange in Hollywood and it's the Able building, but I had no idea what's his name, Miskavizza, I can never say it right, is attached to it. That I think was the last year. So I used to work the Hollywood Christmas Parade. I did craft service and we were set up within the building. So I was like,
this building.
The author services building. Yep. And I did the Christmas parade all the time. And it was the green room. And I didn't put two and two together at the time. Like, well, all the Hollywood Christmas parade might be connected to them. But I spent time in the building.
I've sat there the last couple of years before I ever was introduced to this movement or knew that there was a movement that was really building in the way that it is now, sat outside and watched the Hollywood parade and had no idea that there was a connection and that this connection is what is it, decades long or how long? Like,
has to. Well, we started in the building. It has to be the first one I did with the Christmas parade was top of Roosevelt Hotel. And that was 2009 because I remember I was pregnant and I didn't know it. And I was really sick that night. I had no idea. So I remember that date. So after I did Shannon's, I'm like, oh my God, have I been with them for 10 years? Because it went until 2019. And I would set up in there. I would, in the first several years, it was about being there. I had craft service girls that worked for me and we get all dressed up and we got the all access pass. And, we took care of the VIP, but we walked the red carpet. We got to go to the cameras and it was fun. And then when I'm like, go have fun, I'm going to work the room, I started really going, wait, what's going on here? And I started looking at paraphernalia and snooping around a little bit. And by the last year, I started taking pictures and things. And I have all my old cameras. I told Shannon I'm trying to charge these things because I'm a hoarder.
We're both gonna, we'll share them. I am chomping at the bit to see.
I don't have, I'm trying to, all I have is like so far the ones I shared on
I'm on
Facebook.
my way over to your house right now. We're gonna help you find them.
Well, I'll have all the gadgets and I can bring them. And if anyone knows how to turn them on and go through them, because what's happening is they'll power up and then I try to turn it on. It's on for 5 seconds and it powers down. Even when it's sitting in charge.
Every wire, every adapter, bring it over.
Awesome.
You don't even need to bring the wires. I got it all.
Awesome. Well, I knew that. So when I saw the footage of the house connected, I mean, everything was Spanish roof and stuff and tile, but the inside there's courtyards and things. I mean, I saw walls where I'm like, what's this? And the wall moves and you go down a hallway and I'm like, whoa.
Guys.
I went to enough places where at the very end, when I'm packing my stuff, and it used to be, I packed up and they'd give me a goodie bag with Bo for a Christmas present, like so the L. Ron Hubbard book and bookmarks and pamphlets and all this. And it always turned into my white elephant gift at holiday parties. And they're like, this is how it is. She did the Christmas parade. Like another one of these books. Well, this last year, I didn't get one. I had 3, I call them Men in Black, but I know they're not secret space program dudes. They were like the suits and the glasses and the earpieces, but at 10 o'clock at night. And they were surrounding me. And they're like, she's packing, 6 more bags to go. And I'm just like, I'm hurrying. Like, it is. And they will get escorting me to the car. And I'm like, but I was being sugar sweet per usual, but I knew in my bones, like, don't do anything, like you're done. And like, I think this was the last one. And they used to ask me to do their Christmas party and they'd ask me to like come cater it. And because I did all the snacks and I'm like, I asked a lot of questions. How much is it? How many people can I bring? Where is it located? And they're just like, and they never called me. The last year I was just out. And so that was kind of crazy. So, but the being around that building, we did have carte blanche. The green rooms were all around the Able room. The next layer was that, super wooden room, all the wooden panels, like floor, ceiling, the whole thing. And what boggled my
author services building on the corner, it's the one right in
it's from all of them.
They're all owned.
They're all, you just don't.
The Able building is the one next. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And they're all connected inside. Everything's you don't have to go outside. And there are these doors that lock. I mean, the doors are all like fire doors with like, I got locked in the parking garage, the crazy parking garage that goes up and all the doors and the phones and everything. So be roaming around with the girls with fun because we were pictury. But towards the end, I'm like, I think I'm here for a reason. And little did I know, eyes in the skies everywhere. And so it was like, I was a little too Snoopy. Before I was like trying not to be Snoopy, but really like, wow, this is really pristine. Like, where is everybody? Like, and then I started after talking to you guys and going back in the memory bank, I'm like, are the Christmas parade people related? Because the big hobnobbers, the Grand Marshal, my buddy Chips who likes Diet Coke, Punch, all these people, they're loving on the big wigs from the buildings. So I'm like, oh, I just thought they got a deal and they rented the place. Cause I mean, I've done American Music Awards. I've done the Daytime Emmys. Like I had good big clients and you just assume when you load in, load out, that place is rented. And I'm like, maybe, it might have been a bigger deal, like in the keep it in the family. I don't know. But it was all access to all the different areas. And the most troubling was the one girl, and I swear to goodness, and I'm going to watch it again, the Leah, I can't remember how to say it, the documentary. Remini. Yeah, there was a gal that I swear, I was like, oh, was that my lady, my contact? For the first like 5 years, I had this one girl, and every year she was more frazzled than the last, like whittled down and just gaunt and frazzly, super kind, but just started getting like, and stressed. And I even caught her like doing some eye rolls. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like kind of done. And then the next year they're like, your new contact is Chelsea. I wrote it down. She was 2017 to 19. And she's like, hello. Kind of like when I first met the first girl, really like, I'm like, she's been replaced. Like, where did the other girl look good? She got out or she quit. I didn't know the levels. I didn't know getting out was such a big deal. I just thought, okay, maybe she's working, an in and out. Like, I just thought okay, I'm done working here. I don't know what happened, but I watched that documentary and then I'm like, what happened? What happened to that sweet gal who got burnt out and who did like a million things at once. I remember I wasn't allowed to feed her or give her coffee or anything like that. And then there was another girl behind a desk that was in the really fancy room, the all wood room where everyone's cleaning glasses and, really showboating. I was like, hey, would you like a coffee or cappuccino? Could you like any? She was like ready to talk. He's like, she's good. They're interrupting her. Like, nope, she's good. She's fine. And I'm just like, I working on set, you ask the PA, you ask the director, everybody gets something. So I was just like, why doesn't she get any? She's been standing there forever, slipping her water bottles and things. And I'm just like, she never spoke. I didn't see her mouth open. And so it just was creepy. It was creepy. It was enough to make a memory imprint. But I was a single mom at the time. And I was like, I did work for some crazy clients where I'm like, this is not the time to talk about the Cannibal Club. Like, just bite and smile and get your paycheck. So when I'm there and I started becoming more familiar, I was like, I don't know. Are these guys related to this big company? And they wouldn't. How did they allow me in if I'm not? And so I really am confused by that. So I could continue talking about that. I know I'm going down so many rabbit holes, but I also auditioned for them.
I want everyone to hear this.
I also.
Sorry, I wanted to say that she
right?
called me to asked me to be interviewed, and I'm like, I am switcherooing this on you.
Well, I saw some of your pals come in, so I'm like, I want them to know I'm legit. I'm not a plant.
She's legit, guys.
But I had a funny moment because I moved here from Chicago, and I told Shannon
I'm
this.
from Chicago too, by the way. We have.
Are you?
Yeah, we're both.
Stop.
We have so many things that are in common. You have no idea.
No wonder. That's so cute. I'm an old fart. How old are you?
I say timeless.
Oh yes, age is timeless. I'm almost half a century. So I moved here in 2000, and one of those backstage answer the back ads of backstage, like a general cattle call. I wound up at the Celebrity Center, and I didn't know what it meant. What was it? Golden Star or something? Or I can't remember. That one, Golden Era. And so that I had sides to read and everything. It was like a college kid or something, but I went in thinking this is gonna be a cattle call. Like, you're gonna hang out for a little while because it's big. It's like really big age range, and they're gonna see lots of people. And there was like 3 of them. Like, it was barely anybody. And I'm like, well, this is a posh place, my first time at the big, through the gates and through the tourists and everything. I'm like, an audition here? And the alarms weren't going off yet, really. I was just more like, I had to make it across town in 2 hours, to the next place. And so I'm going in, and they're just eyes on me. And it was like, like, first it's like, what did I do? Like, am I dressed? Like, it was really like panic of why am I being eyeballed? And then I was like, okay, I must really fit the part. And then the ego kicked in, and I started reading, but I had to go through these rooms. And every room I went in, they gave me a new piece of side to read, like a young mom, the college kid, like different ages, and like kept going. And they're like, are you, and they'd ask me questions after each one. How do you feel about this character? And all these things. I'm like, and I felt like it was getting redundant, but I'm like, okay, well, fine. I can do that. Is this what you're looking for now? Because it was different what I got, but I can do this. And then by the last room, they're like, they're going to tape you in the last room. I'm like, okay, great. Like, before we do that, we'd like to see if you like take this test and talk with one of us in this other room. And that's what it was like. Ding, 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 ding. Red flag, get out. This is not how it works. At least they didn't ask for money then, but I always knew there's some things to look for. So I'm like, oh, no, thank you. I'm just going to tape. And like, okay, no, that's okay. We don't need you to tape. And then I was out, and I was just like, what was that? And I was like, and then I started hearing about it later, like, oh, they make their own in-house shows. It's this group a religious group called Scientology, and they make their own in-house programs. I'm like, do they pay? Like, what? So, like, do they need people? And they're like, oh no, they probably just have their own people do their videos. I'm like, it just boggled my mind. So all these little tucked away stories, and then this movement happens. I'm like, oh, I want to share my stories.
Yeah.
So that's
so many people would find all of these so interesting, especially like just the intricacies of inside the buildings, because that's so mysterious to people like me are never in. And it's so secretive and coveted,
Yes.
And
I think Yeah, the working on what was most striking was how different the styles were. So one room style, like whether they just remodeled and made it then, they would have these like floor to ceiling glass panels with these beautiful etched adverts. And I'm like, each of those are probably like $50,000. Like, this is insane. And then I'm like, and nobody's even in here to see them. It's not like you get the traffic off the street to see them. This was up and out of the garage, like third floor. Then that one room, which is all wood and like a fireplace and it looks like a library or a cigar lounge, and it looks totally different from the next room. So it was like a clown show. I go, who's the architect? Like somebody was cracked out because every room is just totally different. Doesn't make sense. But then now I know how the longevity of things that maybe, I mean, I don't know what it was, but it was confusing. But the most confusing was as many years as I worked there, I was lost every time. And anytime I got lost, someone appeared. And they were never there before. Like I never see vacuumers or, a place that pristine. There's always someone working. Never saw that. But they were always there if I turned the wrong corner or I was corralled. So when I started wandering a little more easier, it's when I took the camera out that it was my last straw. But the weird thing is none of it made sense. The stairwells that you could only go to one floor and then the next stair goes all the way up. It doesn't stop at the floors. Even the parking garage is weird. I'm like, it's such a, and then I'm like, did they do this on purpose to confuse people? That's my first take. I was really thought it was confusing. The girls that worked for me, if I made them, hey, can you go bring this to Cindy Lauper or whatever? It's like, keep your phone on in case you get lost. Because even though it's right over there, one stairwell, you have to take the one stairwell to the next stairwell to the next stairwell to get in the same building, just one room over. It was very, very odd in that sense. So yeah, I'm supposed to interview you. You did it. You did it. You did exactly.
I had it actually. I've never actually talked about this publicly, but when I first moved to Hollywood, it was like in 2007. I just graduated from college, and I was just walking up Hollywood Boulevard, and there was you want to take a free personality test, and I was like, oh, I like that. Learn about my personality, and so I remember going in. And they sat me at a table and they gave me this, it was like a thick packet of papers that stapled. And each question was like on a scale of 1 to, from here to here, rate how true are these statements? It's like, I like to whistle. I like, this is weird, just, it seemed kind of, to me, as a person who I took a lot of psychology classes in college and like the Myers-Briggs testing and, those more standardized personality tests. It seemed to me kind of just not rooted in consistent, what I'd learned.
All over the place.
Right. So
like the architecture.
I remember like getting through there was like 20 questions on the first page and then on the next page. And I'm like, I'm starting to get kind of bored with it. And I'm like trying to get it through quicker. And then I just like kind of flipped through. I'm like, there's so many. And I just took the whole packet and I handed it to the person. I was like, I'm good. I don't need to do this. And I was just like, cause it's a nice day outside. And that was the last, I never even thought of it ever again until like, I've been into the movement for a while. And I was like, I remember I did take one. I mean, I didn't take it. I took like a page of it, but I hadn't, I walked in and I was really lucky. I could have gotten sucked in, but,
oh gosh.
Oh
gosh. Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm sure City of Los Angeles. I know how they suck them in. They suck them in with, dreams and opportunity, and we believe in you, and wow, aren't you special? And look, we've categorized you, and we know how to support you. And that's why I think they're all over. I mean, they're everywhere. I was going to say why they're Hollywood Boulevard, but they're everywhere. I want to just say, I'm so sorry. I have not kept up with the chat because I've been babbling like crazy. But Henry, are you saying how does it get past the fire inspection? You mean the fireplace? When I mentioned the fireplace, I remember a fireplace in there. So I was wondering if that's what you meant. Or did I miss something?
Before I left, they're like, did you fill out like your information on it? And I was just like, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. And
I never got followed or get more messages, or I never thought about it again.
Yeah, yeah. And I think too, again, that's energy. You and I are both being walked out, being escorted. I'm like, okay, I can hear them walking. My heart's racing, but I'm like, didn't get aggro. And I was just like, I get it. Like, oh, no worries. I got everything. I do have some of the bowls because I remember I used them for nuts and things. And I just wanted to pack. And I was in there like a maid's pantry, that in between the conference room. So my tables were set up in front of this big glass clock you can see in the picture. And then the other side are those things, those machine things, you hold the tin can things. So I think they did interview tests in there, as well as all the little green rooms. And I know, oh my goodness, I mean, now that's live on the channel, I'm sure someone is saying, but the fact, I think I saw someone go by, like, they don't just let people in there. I go, you're right. I was asked. It was a job. Like,
I just have another memory, a Scientology
yeah.
memory just now, as you're saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
When I was in middle school,
Mhm.
so like might have been in 6th grade, my whole class went to New York from
Oh,
Texas.
nice.
And we
Wow.
went to New York, and I remember like the whole class had to stay in a group, and there were a couple of teachers that were the escort, what is it? The adults that accompany when there's minors who are going in, at a, what is the word? Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Chaperone.
Chaperone, thank you. There was a couple
Right.
adult teacher chaperones, and I remember we were going to take the subway, and the whole group, and they're like, "Come on, let's stay together." And there was the table with people with the e-meters in the subway,
Oh
and
boy.
and I was like, "I want to do this," and they're like, and I was like, "Come on, please let me do this." And I remember that just now because I was in like 6th grade.
Wow.
I was a kid. I was little, and I was like, I held on the thing, and it was very slow process, and it was very long process. And so after like 5 minutes, my whole class was like, "Mindy, let's go. Come on, we don't want to wait. Come on, let's go. We're done with this." And I was like, "Oh, but we're not done. But we're not done." And I was like, "Sorry, guys. Sorry, I have to go." I just remembered that
Wow.
just now.
Yeah.
Just now.
And
I got sucked in a couple times, but look at how they that was to, how old are you in 6th grade? 11, 12?
11, 12.
11, 12.
11.
11, 12-year-old that they were targeting.
Because
Without my
how
parents
would they do that? You don't have money, but maybe to work
without my parents
on the
there,
og.
in the group of my school, my class was there. I don't know, but I just remember that just now.
Wow. That memory core unlock with the tin can things. It feels like udders. I'm doing like udder sign. Dawn, I see your question. Was it only Scientology performance on the Christmas parade? That is the $1 million question. And I had a photo of on the red carpet I wanted to share that I don't know. I can't pull it up here, but it showed the sponsors. And I'm like, does that mean this is the sponsors are affiliate? I have not been able to piece this together. I asked the guy who hired me point blank. I'm like, are you a Scientologist? Is that why we're doing this? Because we had this little banter thing. He's like, I'm not a he was really like, I'm not a Scientologist. I've never have been and never will be. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, fine. And I just assumed then that whole company did. What it was it's in those buildings, but the production company is its own entity. I mean, should I just say it? Associated Television International. That was the name. And they did some game or some shows of like Magician Secret Revealed and like some other kind of shows. Sorry, Brad. But they basically hired me out, and I worked with them actually on the daytime, like other places too. And so to me, when they started taking over this building, I just asked him. I didn't ask all the other people if they were related. But when it came time for the show, because we recorded live Thanksgiving weekend, but it did not air until December. When the green room would open and, everyone come out of their dressing rooms and all the bigwigs were there and the grand marshal's about to go and stuff, I saw some production people hobnob with these bigwigs like they knew them. So I don't know if they're all affiliated. It made me question everyone who was there, but it also was like B-list, C-list. Do they just hit up managers? And like me, I got the call sheet the night before my very first time there. And when I put it in, it said the Able building assigned, and I was like, and I put it in again. I'm like, am I going to a Scientology building? And then I'm like, it's the Christmas parade. Like, this couldn't be, they're just renting it. That's what I thought for a long time. So that is the $1 million question. I do not know, but I have gone through, like, there's a photo of my girls with Billy Ray Cyrus. There's me with Punch, they would always have whatever's going on at the Pantages, those people would come over. And so I don't think I can only, you only speculate at this point, anything. But I know there's always puppet masters. I know that from working in Hollywood. There's the actors, the agents, the agency, but there are people above the above the above the above. So you don't know how far it goes and who shook hands and how they got the deal. So that's why I'm bringing these to speculation. I check my brakes all the time now that I start talking about this stuff. But it's not just Scientology. You know, I have been out there talking about some of the underbellies and the darkness of Hollywood too, because there are a lot of multi-levels. And even with Hollywood, there's an intertwining going on. So it's really where am I going with that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They thought I was
constant reveals.
Yeah, constantly.
Like I saw, oh, there's the Scientology testing center, and then I'm just, you know, since I'm becoming more aware, this is in the beginning of this year. Oh, this is also a Scientology. Oh, that's also a oh, there's also. Wait a minute!
I can't believe it. There's so many
buildings we didn't under our noses. This is happening
under our noses. They're buying up building.
Like midnight buses full of people who are being unloaded and loaded to the buildings, like human trafficking happening in my neighborhood, on my street, under my nose.
What?
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Like Dan Walks LA, he was hanging out with me, and just like after midnight we finished hanging out, he starts heading home, and as he's leaving my place and he passes the Scientology test center, he sees a giant bus and out like single file in their professional clothes, like after like 12:30 after midnight. And he takes out his camera and he's like, this is human trafficking right in front of our face, right in our own neighborhood. And they like shine the light on him to make him that he can't get it, but you see it in the
He's seen it. Yeah.
In the video, you see it. And it was just a coincidence that he left at that time and that was happening.
My bit is getting to read on the people. Like, again, with the energy reads on people, there's some that are uncomfortable in their own skin and others that are vacant. Like, that's what I would be curious to see with the bus people. Are they coming from somewhere where they were hustling? Did they get off the ship? Like, are they happy to be there, or are they there against their will? Are they just not there anymore?
The video I don't know. Doesn't show them. I don't see fear in the pictures and the video. I see like blank soldiers marching, like march. It's a very like almost military.
Conditioned, maybe since children.
Is a better word.
Henry clarified that.
Conditions you to be very uniform together, right?
Yep. And Henry was clarifying, he didn't mean the fire because the fireplace, he meant the building design and odd stairs. Exactly. There's no, like, how did they get past? So then that makes another speculation. Are they in on it? Like, the fire, like, how do they get these permits for these kind of buildings? You know, how it didn't make Ryan a reason, or is that what our fire doors everywhere is for, to get away with that? The cameras on every single door, even bathroom, you can hear the clicking everywhere you go. That's why so I was kind of laughing. I'm like, I played naive for a long time, but I was like, by the last years, I'm like, really? They're still letting me back here? I guess I'll come back. But I did a really good job. So that's probably, you know, I don't know. I think by the last year they realized I had no to the Christmas party and, you know, the pictures, and then I was done. So I guess that's why. But the only people that worked there, like the one frazzled chick that was gone, I swear I'm going to binge that doc again and see if I can find, because I had a moment of like, was that? You know, like, that I was talking to, curly hair and really gaunt. Anyway, thank you, Midwest. Like and subscribe, please. But shameless plug. Chaperone. Oh, I'm behind. Sorry. They're working on Toblerone. They're working on to spell that.
Yeah, if any of you guys ever go out to these buildings, I encourage you to take a special look up at all the many floors and flights of windows where they're all completely blocked from any sunlight. You know, California is known for sun, and these people, they get no sunlight inside there. And then this is a question I don't know the answer, but something that I've been considering. It gets really hot in this area in the summer, and these windows are all closed. And you know, I was thinking, oh, they probably have air conditioning inside. But then I was talking to someone who is an ex-Scientologist, and they're like, well, you know, they don't want to spend money on the people. The people are their product. They don't want to spend that money maybe cooling the inside. So I'm wondering, like, is it going to come to a time where we're going to start seeing those windows opening a little bit more through the day, and maybe there's an opportunity to like reach them vocally. I've been talking to some people who have escaped from Scientology recently. I'm trying to really see, like, what was it for you that was said? What did somebody say that reached you? And I gave them a couple things I like to say, and they're like, oh, well, you know what? There's this like superiority that they put into your mind that wouldn't work. They'd be like, oh, this is just because you're this or that. They have these mantras or things that they say to themselves when they get that kind of opposition. So I'm really lately trying to focus in on, if I have the opportunity to have the ear of someone who's in, what would really reach them.
Yeah. And I mean, so here's where I wanted to share is that, see, I love the woo woo. I love the woo woo. I think a lot of us love woo woo, that tap into light. We know we can feel energy. I also love multidimensional beings. I love me some ETs. So they hijacked, call them Xenu, my little guys. They hijack source and clearing your body. They hijack high vibratory spiritual concepts and universal truths, and they turn it into a pyramid scheme. And that's where I started going freaking nuts. It's a business. It's a tax deductible business. And I went ballistic because this kind of, it's spiritual warfare already out there. So to hijack truths that can help people become their best selves on their own, free of charge, anywhere they want in their own home, but to turn it into a club and an organization and pay to play and build up and get up there. That's where they
all these
lost
barriers to entry
yes,
for these
natural God-given thing, or however you say God, whatever you mean to say about that. It's when you go to the root of everything, it's light versus dark, good versus evil. It's all the basics, black versus white, as far as dark versus light, you know what I mean? That's gonna be that's gonna be a freeze frame, like Heidi is racist. I didn't mean that. I know how they work.
I know how they work.
So that's where I get like, I think I have to start saying something too, because I hate that shit. That happens in the ufology community, which I'm a part of, happens in the disclosure community, truther communities. These communities I've been a part of a while. There's a class system that starts taking place, or pay me this chunk of money and I'll teach you how to ascend or meditate or, have Kundalini awakenings. And it's like, no, bitch, you could do that on your own. You don't have to go to Peru and sit with the there's so many things that are hijacked. So that's why this particular thing drives me up the wall, because it's like, damn it, they did it. They're confusing people. It's confusing. Speaking of confusing, I think I confused some peeps. You're right, Dawn. I mentioned her. Are you saying that you've heard that she is? Because I'm an 80s girl. I'm an 80s
comment too.
Did you see that? So I'm wondering, well, yeah, Miss Cindy. And I go, has she said she is? Because yes, I've been going through the green room list of who has been and where. I'm like, does that mean they're related? Now, the step and repeat I was going to show, so the CW showed Toys for Tots. It showed, is it CW or EW? CW. Yeah, that network. And I'll have to look it up. But Toys for Tots was another biggie. I was like, oh, I see you. I wonder if you are affiliated in that sense. Here it is. So tell me what you thought with that. Here's another one. CW. Hallmark channel.
What I know something specific regarding the CW, that in, what was it? I don't know if it was 2015. I forgot what year, around 2015, somebody who's going to be your guest coming up soon that you mentioned earlier. I don't know if you're going to say that or not, but that person posted the countdown of New Year's for the CW at the Man Chinese Theater area that year. So there's that history. I don't know if you want to write that down to ask that person.
New Year's countdown.
I was there. That I was invited as that person.
Wow. Well, what's interesting, because I've been binging that for some research, and I'm noticing, because we talk the same language with the levels of La La Land and signing on the dotted line and how people, so I'm wondering if that was just one of the other things. He's made some really good points about calling it out and not being able to get to that level because of calling it out. So I'm wondering, stayed sovereign, because then there's like the just someone who had the business that was in there as well. That now, like my aunt disowned me. She thought I was one. She saw one of those damn Christmas goodie bags at my house and she told my mom, and I'm like, Mom, it's a white elephant gift. She goes, I know, she just thinks you are. I go, but I told her I'm not. And so isn't that enough? So they guilty by association is what I'm trying to say. So,
in the many years that I was associated with that person, I never noticed any Scientology ties. So just to say, personally.
Okay.
Except, but when you said CW, that is the one connection I know.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I've done a promo for them, and then I see Toys for Tots, and then there's a huge picture I had of the cupcake spread they did, and it's Toys for Tots. So I'm like, but that was all within the buildings and green. Their execs were there in there. So what I was doing is the green. So the people that before they went out in the parade, they got their touch hair and makeup. But that same, here's where I get weirded with it, and I have to kind of watch what I say, because out of respect for some of them who blatantly were like, I'm not involved, I'm just like you getting the check.
You're there.
Yeah. And they're doing hair and makeup. They're doing like, I don't know. I think they were just like me, like, how do I get out of here? You know, what are we doing here? They load in, they load out. But it's the ones I saw shaking hands that I'm like, it's the ones that show up every green room. You know, I'm like, oh, that's where I'm starting to dot connect and go the affiliation. And then you see some of them stagnant. So I'm like, do they stop paying? You know, watching that documentary, I become painfully aware of the pay to play thing. So do they stop growing if they stop? There's so many questions. There's so many questions I have for it. But the most alarming is no organization like that should be hijacking spiritual truths or career suiciding and suiciding people for wanting to not be part of it anymore.
And their pets.
And their pets. For fuck's sake. What the hell? So
I want to say to Dawn for your question. I don't know who's that. She's asking about the La Poubelle funeral. I was there outside. They didn't tell me whose it was. They just told me it was a funeral. So I don't know.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
She was the quietest one I ever worked with there. She was really like the cat, dragging the cat in to do one more performance. She lived on warm tea. Some don't eat a damn thing. And then my green room story I told Chicago, because I didn't remember it till I'm like, I gotta recall. I remember tripping out because there was this glamazon that came for it. I didn't see her involved with whoever, but she just appeared for when it was like the photos and before they all go out, and just tall, like this beehive thing and jewels and all this. And just like you picture her with a long cigar going, darling, let me tell you about my traveling the world. But so I went up to her to ask if she wanted anything, just to be like, I'm gonna get in her face, figure who out this person is, figure her out. And she goes, hello, sweetheart. Like, she was not even like in a cutesy Minnie Mouse way, but really in a vacant, zero vocabulary, the chick's not home way. Like, hi, da 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 da. And I'm like, would you like a cappuccino or something? She goes, what's that? Like, I'm like, oh my God, you want a water? And I was just like backed away slowly, like, that person's not home. And then I was immediately reminded of like Stepford, or is it Stepford White? You know, the vacant people. And I'm like, it was creep me the F out. So to me, I was like, oh, that's the stereotype. And so when I'd meet these really nice people, I'd be like, you know, oh, they're nice. But then you'd see at the end of the night, they turn. And it's like things change, or like those guys are like that didn't have glasses on and that were really nice, like loved all my snacks. Wow, you're really good. Da, 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 da. And then when I get a little nosy, they're like, she's moving, she's walking, she's out the next third corridor. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, do you like me or not? Like, what's going on? This is it. I go, you're not. I didn't say this, but honestly, if this is not such a dark situation, no one would turn on a dime like that. Having taken a million personality tests, you could hold your grace and compassion and empathy, people. But no, there is a turn that happens into them. And to me, that's someone who's been hijacked mentally and they're unsure. They can't regulate their nervous system. And you cross a line, like you get them to a point to explode because they're holding it in for so long. I've been witness to that. And that makes me have some red flags. So we're really... So how about that book, Mindy?
It's about a little girl who no, but really, I did forget to say, just if you have kids out there, it is a book that teaches empathy, and it's about small actions changing the world for someone else. No, so that's it.
Oh, wow. I hear you. HR nightmare. I agree. And I see what you're saying. You've been following this since 2017. You've never heard that actor's name before, the singer. And I get that. That's why, having worked behind it, I don't know. I can only speculate, which is dangerous. So and that was the one and only Christmas parade she was in. There are some players that were there every single time. One eventually became a grand marshal, and then there's some that just pop in. They're just like the day player or the hit person of the moment, like not the super hit, but they're kind of trending. Their agent probably booked them the gig. So I kind of have a hard time feeling all of those people are involved, other than the ones that showed up every year and knew everybody. Those are the ones that I'm like, is this how we got to work here? Okay, I'm really behind. You're probably sorry. This is the hard part. How do you do this? You do your live chat so well, where you're just like,
oh
you're
no, I don't.
one-on-one with them,
for a
right?
little while, and then I look really awkwardly from like a really unattractive angle, scrolling up.
I
And
know. I'm like,
and
well, yeah, I agree. There's some don't say it's so taboo even to say they are. I know, and
I
yeah,
didn't know
it's
about
such a hard.
I didn't know
Mhm.
about the girl from Handmaid's Tale. I didn't know.
I know,
I
right?
didn't know about
You
Nancy
don't know.
Cartwright, and I bought.
Nancy Cartwright,
Yes,
Bart Simpson. Oh,
yes,
shit.
my heart.
Look at that contract.
So
She's set.
I bought
Mhm.
her. I bought her voiceover masterclass.
Oh, she's damn
And
good. Yeah.
did you do it too?
But
Did
I
you see?
mean, no. I mean, she's good with her voice. She
She's
does
good.
so
She's
many.
really good.
Yeah.
And my heart broke to hear that. And so it's like, oh, now if The Simpsons are on, I'm like, watching is supporting, and it's like, where does it end?
Well, Simpsons in general, macaroni. They say he's King Donkey. I don't know, because how can you
I don't
predict
even.
so many things? So this is the other bit, and this is where kind of the human experience hangout. We share insight and everything, but they're a part of the groups I affiliate with, the synaptic circle, all of it. The common theme is disclosure, and our human experience is sharing our insight. So if enough of us share our human experience and our experiences, it becomes a little clearer, and we are our own disclosure, or like my friend professor likes to say, exposure. And so I have friends all over the country. They're like, burn down Hollywood. And I'm like, no, there's good people here. It's a system of creatives. It's just there's this percent of people that are nefarious and dark and control, and just like mold, it can infiltrate. So we gotta like blast it.
Also, what gives them a lot of that power to do those things is just like the endless money they're able to get because of the tax exemption status.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part. Jeez.
That's
And
like,
the North
and
Hollywood?
you want to cripple Scientology? That's what and how? But
Yeah.
that's what affords them to keep these buildings empty, even though they're not bringing in money. That's what affords them so many of this, being able to, who knows if that's, I can't say for sure, but there's definitely some link that I've seen with my feet on the ground of how the LAPD is preferential towards their defending them against the protesters who have every right to be there. And if the LAPD would just, open their eyes to what's going on inside those buildings, like who would hear these stories and not want to do something about it? How are they so protected that if one of them does something to a protester, then there's nothing that happens. But if a protester, I'm going to say specifically Nancy Drew, accidentally brushed her boob against somebody by accident, and now look at what she's going through. It's insane and wrong. And
Yeah.
anyway,
And they do that they try to do it to shut everybody up. Then it's
there's
like, we'll get them so sad and hurt and commiserating over, look at, they did it to them, I don't want to do it to me, that shut them down, but they're just creating a movement. So that's the bit where we have to hold the line. There's the other term of holding the line. Yeah, that's so unfortunate. And then I see with not only complicit, those kind of agencies like LAPD, but these buildings they're buying. Did you go by the North Hollywood one? Like, no, I still don't really see anybody there. It's huge, and it's
I don't really go into North
who's
Hollywood.
but who's giving them this? How does like a commercial place buy so much commercial
tax
property?
exemption status, and they don't have to pay property taxes, and they don't have to.
It's crazy.
It's this. It affords them all a lot of the crimes against humanity.
What, Carol? I didn't even know that. They
What?
steal pensions, Social Security, and credit fraud of their
That's
followers.
that's
Oh,
what
that's right. I learned that documentary. Oh, I forgot.
the elderly people who are in those buildings. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
They give their life.
They have,
That's where it crossed the line. That's not okay. And then,
I did an interview with
yeah.
Louis Repetto, and he was telling me for personal count stories. It's on my channel. My interview with him about how specific personal stories about the child labor that has gone on, and injury it was resulting from them doing adult jobs, and then also the elderly who when they get sick they don't go through the proper medical routes. They have their own internal way to fix things, and they don't believe in medicine or medical needs in the way that science believes in it. So these people are oftentimes neglected.
I get that. Well, that also was a hijack for me because I'm holistic in that sense and homeopathic and all that. But you also know time and a place. My son just had a broken arm. Like there's things you got to do. And I also have a problem with division. You divide yourself from someone and say me versus them, better versus worse. There's nothing humanitarian about that. It's unity. It's all for one for all. Choices. That's the bit. You have a right to have a choice to things. And if whether it's medical, yeah,
like,
pardon?
and they're gatekeeping, like even just the most natural of human experience.
Yeah. So this is super problematic, and people are like, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you on this route?" And I'm like, it's associated with all the routes I take in a
Sorry
high
about my
vibe
voice.
way. Oh no, it's all good. It's all a high vibe way in the way it goes because we are affiliating it to Hollywood and all these other industries where things are not seen. It's the unseen that we're trying to bring up and show so that more people's conscience go bing bing bing. Okay, that's not okay. The less people that subscribe to it, then maybe it can actually start to be taken down. Because I say going for the big dudes. I tried that with the medical tyranny, with the kids here and the laws in California. Going to the top of the top, you're going to get squashed. You got to expose who's suffering within. You've got to show them that they can get out, and you're there to support them. I mean, I think I'm going in tangents now, but this and all these other communities that I am a part of, and it's needs to be discussed. And that's why we discussed it.
We didn't get to in because there's so much to talk about, and I'm having so much fun talking with you. We didn't even get a chance to talk about our mutual love of the ghosty stories. And
oh, I know. Well, we can. Let's do a little bit if you're okay with a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jessica. Yeah, we'll pivot here. I mean, if anyone has any questions, just holler. There you go. I think I've seen that Sancho when they don't want to pay for healthcare, they dump them when they're not useful anymore. That's the other bit. Like, who does that? They're like a horrible, tyrannical, system that is corrupt. That they use them and they toss them. I mean, that's just not them. It's a lot of people. But when you see how they're intertwined in places and people are unaware, that deserves justice. If anyone did see my synaptic circle last weekend, I had those tarot pulls and it was all the justice card kept coming up. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to be talking about this stuff. So I just saw it as a little sign. So on that note, getting to the creativity of things, if you're from my channel and you do not know Mindy, you've got to check her out just for the singing. Good God, woman, you can sing.
Oh, I loved it. I opened for the Supremes once.
What?
The Supremes. In a 2014 or 15, something like that.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised. I think, was it Runyon? You were hiking. And was that Runyon Canyon. And you started the hills are alive. Someone else was saying it too. But I'm like, you're hiking and you still came out with something ready, microphone ready. It was incredible. How long have you been singing?
I'm addicted to singing. I just I can't stop. Once you get my chat knows if they say something and I start singing a little bit, then I'm just like, okay, now I'm hooked. Who has the next suggestion? I just always liked to sing even before I was good at it.
Oh, is it since a kid? Since you just
ever since I was not. I have recordings of myself that are horrible when I was younger.
Aww,
and I keep them because I'm also a voice teacher, and I like to show where I started. That you can. It's like any skill set. You can grow it from And when I see people show me, oh, look at this singer, she's a young singer, and I listen to her, and I'm like, no matter what it is, I just go, she's only going to be getting better, and she's only going to get better as she keeps going with it.
That's what are the ages you work with, or
I
have you worked with? Like, what's your range?
professionally, I've worked with from like not necessarily as a voice teacher, but just in general working with kids from infancy through professionally through 14 years old, like 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. And you were saying before we were recording, it's not just music. You were to the drama department and stuff?
I've been in the entire music, drama, and art department. I've been,
Wow.
I've taught singing privately, and I've taught swim. I've taught English. I've taught math. I've taught reading. I've taught, whatever I know how to do. I just have a really, I don't know. I just have a way with kids hearing.
I get that too.
Art. Even people who don't speak English, I've worked with people who are not English speakers, and we always seem to communicate. I listen with my heart.
That's the way to do it. And Garrett was saying that when he was referring my channel to you, like I call it the rubber face, but it's not. It's just we're personal. We're enigmatic.
Well,
I even when
puzzling. Enigmatic means puzzling.
Oh, they're not that. Animated. There we go. Yeah. And I think even one of my early jobs, to pay the actor audition bills is I did kids' birthday parties, like things, anything that I was always with kids somehow. And now I've circled back. I left the motion picture and now I'm with kids again, working with kids. But
I love that.
It's
I want to hear so much more about what you do.
Well, yeah, it's in the classroom. Yeah, we'll have to do that. I have to come.
Yeah, when you come on mine, I'll yeah, I'm gonna
Renaissance women. I like that one. We will. We're going to switch it, but I'm not surprised. And I think it is this demeanor. And I think that's where, I sure threw some people off when I started sharing. Even the gal who was my assistant, she saw my Instagram when I shared, I did that show with Chicago, Shannon, the Scientologist Shannon.
Yeah.
She goes, what is that? And I have some of my parents and my kids on my channel and stuff. They watch this stuff. And I'm like, listen, I just like to share. I share my stories and my experience. And if it can help others, then win-win, but I will I babble. And so all those things that come together, that, where was I going with that?
You're the best.
I see. I always brought it back to that. Oops. Well, it's
insane to me how many people I come across who meet me who just in my normal life who have never heard anything about, and my friends or family, whoever I'm around at the time, they'll be like, oh, she protests Scientology, or she this, to say that about me. Like, what's Scientology? I don't know if any of you guys saw on my community tab, my mom was going through her surgery, and so I'm in the hospital, and she had just gotten her pain, like she's right out of surgery, so she's in a lot of pain. They give her the pain stuff, and the nurse came in, and she's like, so how's the pain now? And my mom's like, Scientology's a cult. I'm like, what? I heard that. I was on the phone actually with Dan Brink, who's in the chat. I was like, I heard that. We both heard that. And I'm like, what, Mom? Yeah. And the nurse is like, what's Scientology? And I was like, it is a cult, but Mom, are you okay?
That was the first thing she said. Oh, she's like on the flag. I want to circle it in a way because we are high vibratory beings that just talking about these things, and we've seen what's going on with some of the people. I don't even like saying protester because that brings a negative connotation. Those bringing awareness to this movement. That's a very long title, but how I have people are going to come across this to target. Do you feel targeted in a way? Like someone's like, aren't you like my sis? Are you going to feel targeted by this stuff? And I go, well, will you tell me first? What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel, because you've been targeted for this, but from the people you're trying to help, what about the dark? Do you ever feel that they're going to get you?
I didn't even think that. I don't use my car for anything Scientology related. I make sure extra now to lock my balcony door and make sure that everything, I've gotten extra cameras all around my property and my car, and I've taken a lot of extra precautions, and I've heard a lot of other people's firsthand experiences, and I haven't had too much that I know about. Right? This is very subversive. But I definitely take the precautions to protect people in my life and myself, and also the community has its own, little dangerous characters within
Yeah.
the viewership
Yeah.
community. And even not even having to do with Scientology. It's being now in like the public eye as a streamer. You're having there's like a whole mixed bag of people who are watching, and most of them are the most supportive and wonderful people who are on the same team as you. And then there are some, as with any group of people, who are, they get off on troublemaking.
That's the thing, they get off on trouble. It's like they're harvesting your energy. They're trying to bring you down or trying to, get you to get freaked out. And so I was going to say the work of knowing about energy work and frequency and all that is working on yourself, so much so, and loving your life and believing in a movement or surrounding yourself with people that you feel you can trust keeps your vibration so high that it's like they can't get at you. Although, having watched that documentary and then talking the way I have talked about the underbellies of Hollywood and things, you just have to be on your game. And you have to, we're all allegedly, I know Kevin has the ticker tape. I wonder how I should do that. These are our stories. These are our experiences, and nobody can take away, but we're also good ladies. We're kind. We're making people laugh and smile. We're educating kids to be their best selves, bringing out their skills. And we're doing that good work. We're just taking the spin of activism, I think, and bringing it and being like, hey, everybody, this isn't right. I think that's okay to do. And I don't feel, and so this targeting, how dangerous it gets, I go, well, I'm not being mean about it. I'm not being mean. I'm not making myself a target. Like giving them an excuse.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm.
It's being mean about it doesn't make a difference. You're bringing awareness to the crimes that are going on inside. And, their, I think, power, one of their many powers, besides money, is having this like image of, you talk to, I even was talking to a lady who was usually on Hollywood Boulevard, and she's a nun, a Catholic nun, and she's out there for religious awareness. And she was saying, they let me in to use the restroom all the time. They're all so kind in there, and they're of them never. And they are very convincing to the person who's not aware of what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So that's what powers.
I get it.
This brand that because when they built it, there wasn't this widespread, anyone can broadcast and put a window for the rest of the world to see with their own eyes. Now there is, it's harder and harder for them to maintain the smile in the face of, I've never seen a video of, and there's now across the world, activists who are going right up to Scientology saying, hey, what would you say? And this is one of my lines too. What would you say is the most, this is my camera, is the most, the biggest misconception that people have about Scientology? Like, give them the opportunity to speak. There's none. They close off. None of the Scientologists that I've seen in any videos are like, well, actually, there's no conversation. It's anybody who is suspicious of even the little bit, close it off, turn it down, go inside. And that's one thing when people were saying I'm a plant, I'm like, look, I don't do that. I'm an open book.
Right. It's like an us versus them. And that's another part of the division I don't like. And that's why I felt it. I still scratch my head. Why was I in there then, unless they were affiliated? Because I wasn't a part. But I'm sorry to bring it back.
No, it's
in that sense. But it doesn't. I'm just boggled. I'm boggled. I just get boggled. I'm like, what the hell? This is. I do suggest. Oh God, I didn't even tell you. I'm going to save it for your show. The big details. My hubby's in the industry. I know you heard on Shannon's, but I started to share, and he was at Hemet. Or
you were telling me. You were telling me.
Yes, I was telling you on the phone. And when he first they confiscate his phone. So they confiscate the phone when they go in and out.
People don't know about Hemet.
Yeah,
guys, you who don't know, Hemet is like where their private prison is.
It's huge. Just watch. You got to watch the documentary, and not. I mean, there's other documentaries now. Like she paved the way. Like there's other stuff out there you can see. But it is a compound out in the Redlands or like Riverside County. It's about 2 hours from here in LA, right? 2.5 maybe, and compound like Disneyland, like and impeccable. Like the flowers are like, woo, like everything is like, but no one's around, and that's where there's a couple of parts to it. There's the super compounds, and then they have their own studios where they make their in-house production, the videos and stuff they do, which are again hijack spiritual truths. And yeah, my hubby was out there. He filled in for the guy, which made me tell him, well, if he has that deal to put his equipment in these jobs, is he part of the organization? And he has no idea. He's like, he doesn't know, but he had to fill in for him. And even they were like, what do you mean? Who's coming? And my hubby's a beast. That's another reason why I feel protected. He's 6'7", 350. Like he's a beast. And I sketched him out a little bit before he went. And then of course I couldn't reach him all day, which made me panic. And then he comes home and says, second you go in the gate, they take your phones and they give it to you when you're like, the gates close behind you. They give it back to you. So, cause I'm like, take me down. And this is where I'm already in it kind of thing. And, no, he didn't get any, but he kept commenting how much food they were giving. And it was like feast upon feast and impeccable, and never saw anyone working and other than their little group, and tried to get him to talk about things towards the very end. And all he wanted was the check and leave. So I already said I wasn't going to say it, and I already just said it all. You got me going. It's the energy. We're like, la, 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 la.
You say it again. When it's my turn, you just say it again. Pretend like you didn't. And I went to Hemet before. I used to be a singer at the Renaissance Festival up in Hemet. We'd go up there, and I didn't have any clue. I never noticed. It's like it's such something to be said about how well they hide in plain sight. Like it's a huge compound. I didn't even notice it. I didn't know. I didn't know. No awareness about as I'm even going up there, and it's not a big it's not a big town that I remember. And the Renaissance Festival there was really small. And then on Hollywood Boulevard, it's like you don't it's like, oh, it's this building that says Scientology. Oh wait, but it's also this building, but it's also this. Like, what do they have the whole street? It's hiding in plain sight.
Hiding in plain sight. And then, like I said, they're connected by these crazy tunnels inside, above ground. You can't imagine what's going underground. All my truther communities, we talk about the underground tunnel systems throughout the country for the trafficking and all that kind of stuff, and through Hollywood. Same thing with this. This should be on blast just as much, I feel.
I think it's starting to gain more traction.
It's gaining more traction. Yeah. And some of the, yeah. So, I mean, with that being said, I didn't reach out yet. I know this family that is involved in, because I did a podcast in 2020 and I made a joke about like, because I had just been sobering up, and I'm like, I feel like when I'm clear, I'm really tapped into source.
Clear.
Really like, I know I said that word and I manifested, and I go, but not clear like Scientology clear. And then after the taping, he goes, I just want to let you know I'm cutting that out because me and my family were involved with the organization, and I was just like. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. He goes, no, it's all good. I understand your reference. He goes, you're hilarious. And I go, well, I get it, but they hijacked that reference. And then I go, oh, I'm really sorry. But I see them at this level of the industry, and they're still, this was 4 years ago. So I'm like, did they stop paying? Like, I don't know. How does that work? Doesn't make sense. Kind, sweet people full of life. But I wonder, what did they fall for? And how far did it go? Because someone made a comment too about the vacancies. They certainly weren't vacant, and they didn't live anywhere near or work anywhere near, but they do work in Hollywood.
Well, you say they weren't vacant. They were enthusiastic, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, the one has podcast. What's showy? Oh, but yeah, is that a show?
Authentic.
Ah,
right? Because they dropped it. You said.
Oh yeah, because when they changed, it turns out he's like, we're not going to say. They were able to like shut it off.
Dropped it. So that wasn't authentic. What you saw, it was turned on.
It wasn't like this cracky show that we're doing where our energy is like pow pow pow. I'm not going to turn this off and be like, okay, children, let's have dinner. This is my personality.
Remember I was telling you, I've been talking to a couple people who are like ex-Scientologists and kind of trying to reach, get a good idea of like how to reach people, and listening to their stories and getting an understanding. So I know who I'm talking to, right? I'm going to interview this person. But one thing that really came to light for me as a never in, as I asked all these questions that I wanted to know, that just that how human emotion is withheld from them. I
Mm.
I was saying to this person, I'm like, the way that people will give up their children and like have no money left and have to move into, you know, and move into the Sea Org and like sign their life away for a billion years. Like this is like addiction mentality. A lot of the behaviors are synonymous with drug addiction. But what is the drug? What is the benefit? What do they get? I'm thinking, oh, and here they're working for over 110 hours a week for $47 a week. For what is the benefit? What do they get? Like, what do they feel that they're getting out of it? And it is the auditing sessions. And it came so clear to me in his stories about how people were so forcibly withholding any emotion, any real feeling, that those auditing sessions are the only place where they get a little breath of being human and talking about their feelings, that their own humanity is the drug,
Oh
Heidi.
my
I almost,
God.
when I
What
said
makes
that,
sense?
I was saying that to him. I was like, the humanity is the drug. The humanity is what they're being withheld from. And he started tearing up. He's like, no one's ever put it that way, but this is just a last night conversation. It's just, that's why it's like, and I'm going to interview
Yeah,
him.
but that's beautiful.
This is the first time
That's
I'm
it.
talking about it publicly, because it was last night that I'm trying to understand myself. And now I understand that what would people give up everything for? It's like, they don't have anything. They don't have their human. He's like, one thing he said is that like he sees somebody having a breakdown, and his instinct is, your instinct as a human is to say, are you okay? You want to sit down? Can I get you something, a water? Like, you can't, you have to be cold. And it's your humanity that they're withholding. That's the drug that you get a little sip of in auditing.
Dang, I didn't even, that makes perfect sense. That reminds me of the gal behind the counter. I'm like, would you like a cappuccino? And she's like someone sees me, you know, her face, like there was a moment of like, and then someone spoke for her and she goes back down. I'm like, I've treated her like a human, or someone treats them. Wow. Yeah. Mindy, I get that. So why is that any of that right? So
It's a
that's
slow
what
process, you know,
it's a slow,
apparently a
yeah.
slow process of that,
Yeah.
these
And then,
sessions cost so much money, and then you can't afford to do the sessions, so you sign over you work for the sessions. You're working now. Your hours are paying for the sessions, and then after so long of that, the sessions are less and less because you're not paying for them. Your hours of work aren't equated as the value as they were at the beginning, and it's just a
shit.
slow.
So
Now
you're like,
suddenly there is none. And then
oh
you're
fuck.
rewarded. The rewards come with foregoing, not needing to have that little breath of
Um,
humanity.
hmm. It's really sad. This is very sad.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I don't think we even have to go there. The state of the planet, let alone La La Land and Hollywood and the children in the streets and all that, and the money, the hemorrhaged money, the money that one of those buildings, you know, or what they're funneling, what it could do. If this were truly a, you know, religious-y thing, why is humanity not being helped in that sense? I will never understand that. I've seen, I mean, we're talking hundreds of billions, right? We're going into the B's of billions, if not trillions. And that's frightening, because this is the time to help your fellow brother, you know, brethren, especially here in LA. We're getting wrung out. I mean, everywhere it is, but that money hemorrhaged through this, the money laundered through this organization is criminal. And so why is nothing happening? Because they're attached to the people that are protecting them, that are supposed to be taking them down. That's what it's all, just a shit show, isn't it? It really is like, oh, we gotta shake it.
It's overwhelming how
Yeah.
interwoven they
Mhm.
are with and it's intentional. From what I've learned over this 6 months of being an activist for this cause, it is intentional, and was even stated by Elron in the beginning. L. Con Hubbard, in the beginning of that they want to infiltrate all the different departments, all the different systems, so they have people
It's a mob.
inside.
You like mobs?
Wait,
Mhm.
what was it called? Scientologists.
There you go. And I see that related to the mobsters, the Illuminonkeys, all of those little organizations that need to feast off of people to keep their stuff going. Use them and talk, it's kind of widespread. I do see the relation to a lot of things. And it's dangerous how out of control it's gotten. I mean, the entire town in Florida is, bought and owned basically. That's a mold. That's a dangerous mold that's getting a little too big. It is time for some a little more exposure, I
And
think.
thank goodness
So
we have this
Mhm.
this streaming this so thank goodness that we have this as a way of bringing the awareness that can reach so many people that they don't even have to they don't have to pay for it. It's it's
Right,
widespread. It's growing, the awareness, it's growing, and pretty soon they won't be able to hide it.
right. That's the beauty. That's the tech part I like. The exposure and the disclosure. And I love how someone was calling you the Mary Poppins of the movement. The Mary
Oh,
Poppins on the street there.
Mindy.
And Mindy Poppins, that's it. Yeah, how does that I think that's the way to do it at this point when you're involved with dangerous people. I mean, they can be dangerous. They're the way that they can come at people. So just the discussion of it, well, that brings me back to protecting self, that's key. I mean, that's everything, but we can't live in fear, which is what is intended and needed. So I guess the protection is the high vibe and just being honest. We're sharing our insight. I'm going in a circle there.
And also the
Did you
community
know
is looking
community
out for,
service? Yeah.
look, the
Pardon?
community out there who's
Yeah.
looking out for
Finding each other.
people who
Mhm.
have their feet on the ground. So like,
Yeah.
for example, like I would always say, like, this it's not me actually that is the connection between this whole movement. It's not people like me. It's absolutely the viewers who are hopping between the streams, warning the different streamers, like, look out for this, oh, so and so is in trouble. Like, we aren't a group,
They're
we're
on
not
it.
organized, we're not incorporated. I didn't even know these people before I start. I only see them there, and then have developed friendships over time. But we're not, there's no call tree. So it
There's no
really,
union.
there's no union there. The glue and the protection is from you guys at home, the viewers who are just tirelessly sending information to help. You're needed.
That's beautiful. I love that. Would you say so? LA and Chicago are very active right now. Do you know where else that you can see like what's not
Is it
protester,
Texas
the
also?
motivators? Texas?
Is it Texas also? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Yeah, I
can't
don't know.
vote
Who knows?
because the testing center is so close that I could easily, like, and Natalie Webster interviewed me when I was new, and she's like, how long are you going to do this? And I said, as long as it's easy that I can do it while not like totally upheaving my life. That was that story. So yeah, I was like, as long as I can just walk there, it's easy because I'm not going to take my car. And now the locations are a little further that I do need, transportation, either public transportation or Ubers or a friend or whatever. And I've started caring even more and getting more. I didn't know about all this stuff that's happening to the kids and the elderly in there, and
I know.
you
That
just learn
drives me.
more, and
Yeah.
it's. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, I have a voice that people are listening to, and maybe it is important that I keep kind of following where, but I also, we have to look out for our own self-protection, and even if it's just that there isn't an emergency at home, but we need to focus on our creativity for a while. This is the
Yeah.
thing. There's an ebb and flow of people. You see new people, which is great. You see people who had left and come back. We need to support the people who are feet on the ground and understand that this is a volunteer thing, and support that when the person, we don't see them for a while. Sometimes as a streamer, I can speak for myself that there's a lot of like, oh, well, Mindy doesn't care anymore. Then that's hurtful.
That is hurtful. That would be very hurtful because we are creator beings and we're supposed to be creating a new earth that does take care of all these beautiful things we're trying to seek. We're supposed to be creating education systems that align with, really high vibe way. You're supposed to be building
Following
communities that
your
take
heart,
care of each other. Yeah, you can't always be
which can
doing,
be
and
in a lot of
especially
different directions.
yeah. Yeah.
And I was, and many of us are fully formed adult before we even participated in
Right.
with interests and like my book writing or my just having a fun adventure. I'm more than just one thing, and that's one thing I really appreciate you bringing me on here to like let me introduce myself as
I know.
a
But yeah.
multifaceted person who's not just one thing, but I am
Oh,
that thing just as
yeah.
much as I'm other things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, hold up the other one. You didn't share that one. I saw that on Instagram. It's a dating one. Are you
Mhm.
single, Mindy?
I am single, but I haven't really tried to date since I joined this movement at all. I've actually
It's gotta be tough.
entirely lost my interest in, and honestly, I'm not like page one is like, are you ready? And like thinking, within yourself. And right now, if I go on a date, I can't like they can ask me questions about myself, and everything would lead back to this. I think I need to do a lot of just self-reflection and I'm also like high anxiety about a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and then also on the ground and then even like me being here, but then my family watching on TV downstairs, walking downstairs and my family's watching, and then I'm like, oh no, is Aja in trouble? Like having this. When you
Oh.
see, like, we're watching a TV show, I could say, "Oh hey, my friend's on that show. Hey, I'm watching you on that." No, they're out there right now, and if it's drama or like a danger, you can't. They're live. They're not going to answer, and you're worried about them. And I can't imagine. Like, I know them. This is like you're watching your own universe playing on the TV of your living room, and it's sometimes it's I don't want to call out Aja. I love Aja. Anyone who might be in honestly, if there was somebody who approached Aja, I worry more for the other person. She's a tough cookie, but also I do. I care about their safety, all of their safety.
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot going
Right.
on in the background.
Right. What do you think are the next steps or the hopes of bringing so much awareness that they have less enrollment or they have less just like is there a uniform goal of
You know,
protesting? And I see that it's Canada, Germany, Australia, Texas, Chicago. It's worldwide now.
speak for everyone in saying that it would be a huge crippling to them to remove that tax exemption status if there was a way to do it. And so, just like you were on the city hall steps for other causes, right? Or
Mhm.
I've gone to like some, going to bringing awareness to the systems that are already in place as much as you can. But then also initially it was just that small first step of, hey, this building on Hollywood Boulevard, the test center, is siphoning tourists, unsuspecting tourists who everything's expensive in Los Angeles, but here's something free you can do. And
Mhm.
the personality test, for example, and unsuspecting, and a lot of them don't even speak English, the people who they're bringing in. And it's just so predatory. So getting
Mhm.
those doors to close, having people there and when the doors closed there, then they start, and it's not just they just start, they've always been having a table here to having setting up a table over there, whatever,
Mhm.
that having a person who knows better, like people from our community, saying as they're trying to give them a brochure of join Scientology, telling them, hey, this is a cult, this is undoing what they're trying to do, is just the people are their product. People. So people not being able to, or being educated. I don't want to say like we've never held a person back from, we don't force anyone to do or not do, but educating them so they know what they're getting into. Scientology will often have a music concert, and they use that as a way to trick people. People don't even know they're going into Scientology, or the acting classes. They don't even know they're going into Scientology. So warning them, educating them as they're walking in. This isn't what you think. This is a trap. I'm here for volunteering for free to help you because so many
Just
people
to
fall
tell
victim to
you.
this. And so that's step one: preventing or educating people so that they make the right choice for themselves before they fall victim. And that's made there's been huge progress on that as a test center. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, but up to now, the progress that's been made is like from the beginning. If you were to ask one of us, like, do you think that's going to happen in such a short time? I wouldn't have thought that there would have been that much success, which I'm so proud to have had even a little bit of a part of. And then overall, the tax exemption status.
That's huge. Yeah. That I think that if we can just all put eyes on that and put that up in like, come on now. I mean, that would change the country's lives. That would change the planet pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone is above that. Otherwise, taxation is theft. So let's just get rid of the whole damn thing. Then make it for everybody, please. Oh gosh, Mindy, you're awesome.
You're awesome.
Yay.
Such a
We'll
fidget.
have to run in person. I'll get a heads up when you're around there. I'll check out the streams. I mean, it's summertime, so I want to
Absolutely.
get
We'll
down
do a
there and
double
meet you in
stream.
person. I'll bring snacks.
I love that.
Real quick with more creative stuff. Let's bring the vibes back to some positive things because I
Yeah.
love seeing you on stage. Well, you were at the Comedy Store. Do you do comedy too, or were you singing
Oh
for that?
no.
You were singing.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, Mindy, are you, for example, are you on, have you ever, like, I've never really, like, seriously
You're not professional?
put myself
Like,
huh?
not professionally? Like,
No,
like
never,
you
never,
have
never.
lyrics?
I like to sing from my heart. Just like a singer and a performer. I like writing comedy things. I've written a lot of poetry. And then one day they let me go up at the Comedy Store, and it went very well, actually. Nobody interrupted me. They laughed at the funny parts. They clapped at the end. And I just didn't update the jokes. They were like way back in like Susan Boyle days, if you remember. Like, I never updated the jokes, and I just like, I did it, and it went well. And the other things that you've seen me on the Comedy Store stage singing or whatever has just been at their private Christmas parties or their New Year's parties. I'm like a really close friend of the everyone who works there pretty much. And so I feel really honored to be part of kind of that family. And
I love it.
welcome there and standing on the stage. I'm like, oh wow, like Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland have stood, because it used to be a restaurant called Ciro's along. This is such a huge history and a really great ghosty place if you ever wanted to.
Oh yeah, at the Comedy Store, there's ghosts.
Famous Comedy Store.
Do you have time to share one?
Well, so it used to be owned by the mafia or the mob. And there's a staircase in the back where leads up to a door, and you open up the door and there's just like a drop off, and they'd have people go and deliver something up to that door, and they'd shoot them in the back of the head, and the person would fall down to the flight of like just like the drop off of outdoors. And I've been outdoors in that area, and you look up and there's just this door there's just this door up there. There's a lot. Wow. There's like bullet holes along the wall up there. These are all super historical. Nothing since it's been the Comedy Store. No statement on the Comedy Store. But before, when it was Ciro
days, yeah. Wow, that's a good one. So the ghosts of those probably haunt. They're probably like, son of a bitch, I was just delivering milk.
There were a lot. There was a brothel type activities in there, and so also I don't know if I'm allowed to say like the A word, that comes along sometimes with that. A lot of that went on.
What's the A word?
Sorry, I don't know about abortions.
That goes along with brothels. I see. Okay.
So I don't know.
It took me a minute.
There's such a history, and then people say that they felt things in the basement. I've been in the basement. I've felt like I'm not alone in the main room when the lights are off and everything. But it's just, I think a lot of, I've never seen anything, but other people have.
Wow. I mean, that's telling for a lot of these old towns. I mean, we're both Chicago too, so the history there as well, and the mobsters. But I think testimony too to your personality, because I got the same spiel that we can pick up on these energies. I think because we exert so much, we're just aware of everybody else's energies too. So I'm not surprised you pick up on all that. But with that being said, keep your senses super sharp. I'm sending you divine protection all the time, when you're back out on the field and everything. I'd love to help you out, but also I trust that you have the right people around you and you got your spidey senses and your positive vibes to stay safe. And I think it's a shame that we have to even say that, because we're literally just trying to help others. So I'm sorry about that.
About the other people who might be, and maybe even me sometimes, when they disappear from your eyes of right in front of the Scientology building, if it happens for a certain amount of time, like let them listen to their own feelings of need of protecting their safety.
Yes. Always. And
Yeah.
just like I tell mom pals, the oxygen mask thing, you got to put yours on first before you can help anybody else. And if you are not running at your optimum best, you're not going to be able to do your best or what people, need from you or liked having around you, your energy and such. You have to recharge. And I'm family's first. I mean, your divine health and self, of course, but your family. And I mean, we all have to pay to live in LA an obscene amount of money. So we do have to have our 3D lives in place too. And that means sometimes working not within, we can't make money on, disclosing stuff, basically. I sure hell am not making any money on this, but be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let's get to that point. But so we all have to dip out here and then. And that's when you have your community because they'll check on you on the back channels.
Yeah.
They're not just doing it to be seen or heard. They're like, hey, girl, you okay? You need anything? What's up? You build your community. And I love that. So
I wanted to also mention, just because you said you're like, oh, you did the dating book. Are you dating? I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like I get some pushback sometimes of like, oh, well, Mindy's single and she wrote this book. It's about safety. It's about dating safety. I lost my sister. She lost her life as a result of meeting this guy online. I was severely taken advantage of from somebody who I met online. This one specifically leads you through a bunch of like self-checks, psychological checks, how to say no, how to stand firm in yourself and kindly say no and maintain your own boundaries. The entire book is in flowchart format. So you're asked a question and
that's awesome.
It's almost like a choose your own adventure book, but I call it a choose your own advice book. And there's really funny parts in it. And there's like a self-checking, like worksheets that because things you ignore when you're in it, that be making them more visual, and also resources for STI stuff, as well as like depression stuff, or resources for safety stuff. This is after the sex chapter. Afterwards, how do you feel? How do you feel?
I'm creepy now.
Where it takes you down a different route. So it's whoever's reading it for your needs. Yeah. And it's super lighthearted and funny. But then if you get to the biography page, it's like one page. If you ask, only if you say, do you want to learn more about Mindy? If you say yes, it takes you to one page that is a more serious background of why I wrote the book and myself, and what qualifies me to speak on the subject.
Damn. That's it. That's again why I'm grateful to have this conversation. And I'm sure what Gail drove us together is your human experience is creating your reality. It's creating you to be inspired to create a book, a platform, your experience. And that's what I love sharing with people, their human experience, their insight. And you, again, are turning an awful situation into something that can help others. So thank you for doing that. That's really tough to do, but damn, another amazing, go Mindy. Mindy kicks ass.
And
I love it.
Holy how over an hour, almost 2 hours.
Oh my God. Flown by. Like an hour. I didn't even look.
No, and there's no time limit.
Guys.
I just want you to know like how much I've
will wind down a little bit though. Pardon?
How much I've so enjoyed chatting with you, and now it's felt like 5 minutes. I can't wait for our next one on my channel.
It really has. It really has. And due to the content too, I usually bring up everything like, everybody look at you, let's see, let's talk. But I want some anonymity to some if they had questions, or I know we hit some heavy things, but I am glad I am going to lighten it up and round it down, because I think it is important that I've been told as well, on set they called me craftspiracy instead of craft service, because I talked about all the things, and I realized it's an art in the delivery. How you deliver information is when your audience will be able to receive it. And so delivered through the heart, like you teach through the heart, same thing. We got a lot of samesies. I think this heavy duty thing, it all comes down to, like your book. My favorite hashtag, by the way, is choose your own adventure. So that's why when you said that, I was like, another thing. We all have choices. And why this particular subject took most of our talk today is because there's a hijacked choices that people have. They're getting hijacked from their choices. They're getting coerced. They're getting manipulated. And
from their own
emotions. Change that. Yes, from your own humanity and your own emotions, your gifts. So that's not cool. It's not fucking cool. Excuse my French. And I'm not even going to go back about the money. So that is why this conversation was important to me, not just to introduce to my audience this beautiful high vibe spirit that's here in LA. That's why LA is we're keeping it real, keeping it grounded, and amplifying the light here. But I know for Mindy's friends who came to join, it's so nice to see you guys. Welcome to this channel. I look forward to building this relationship more with Mindy, like in person and such, because it is all about building community. That's why I like to go live, all spazzy conversations and everything, because I want you to see the authenticity. The only thing I have is tea, and I had a B shot. I'm not. I mean, I'm not a super. I'm this enigmatic because I really enjoy sharing my energy and experience with people. So I'm so thankful for you sharing this time with me. I know we're just the start of something lovely, and can we get your book on Amazon and stuff? I really like. I know someone I want to give that to.
Amazon, and it's like the what's it called? The ebook. I made it like less than $3. I don't want any barrier of entry for people to get the really important safety information. I don't make a lot of money at all on these. This is just like give it to somebody who you care about, who's out in this dangerous world,
Right. The online dating world. I mean, that's all people.
The first chapter is about seeing signs of red flags in people's profile, like how to things that's also questions to ask that seem innocuous but reveal more than they seem. A whole 200 pages of or more of I wrote the book of really helpful stuff for someone you care about. So I mean, the ebook, it's like almost nothing at all.
Okay. Awesome. I like hard copies. I like my bookshelves. Yeah. I'm a hard copy gal.
There's like a work pages.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's also
and what's the name of the new kids book coming?
Oh, and I wish I had a copy of it to show you. It's called Wild Newt, and it's about these kids who it's a story of a real story that I had with kids that I worked with, and we found a little creature out on our nature hike. Anyone who has kids knows this happens, and they want to take the creature home. In this case, so it's called Wild Newt because they belong in their home in the wild, and also the differentiator of this book is I was thinking, like, how do I get kids to care about the autonomy of this creature and not want to, like, if I were them, I would want to take him home too. How do you care about their autonomy and that they should stay in their home? Kids oftentimes have to be taught conscientiousness. And the way that I did it in this book is to, when it gets to the point of the little boys who found the newt, they're like, what should we name him? Well, the reader gets to choose the name. And then there's this symbol throughout the book that you use the name that you picked. So like when I don't know, if you name him Booger or whatever, it makes the kids laugh or whatever the kids want. So it's, oh, where did Booger go? And now they care about Booger. Booger doesn't belong to these boys. Booger belongs to himself. And so the name was a wild card. So Wild Newt. So several different meanings.
It's awesome. I love that. I'm gonna get that from my classroom. That's real. We had an outdoor classroom. My third grade, we were outside, so we had critters all the live long day. And now we go inside next year. But yeah, that's perfect for us. Everyone's asking you to sing here. We're gonna fit. Dawn, thank you very much. She said, "Thank you, ladies."
All right. What would you like?
We need a members only.
Everyone throw your suggestions, and I'll pick one that I like, and I'll just do a little piece.
And Midwest says the next talk is karaoke night.
I love that. I love that.
Oh my gosh, that's fun. Throw in some suggestions. And thanks, gal. Yeah, that was fun. Now you're going to keep it down with your mom for a little while still. So
yeah, it might be another
stay in touch about that.
Who knows?
Okay, that's totally cool. I'm wide open July, August. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give away too much, but I plan on doing something tomorrow with some familiar faces to all of you guys.
You hinted about that in a live yesterday, I remember. So
yeah,
you gotta follow Mindy's channel, everybody.
Only because I hate to say it, and then it doesn't happen, and then it's like I get a lot.
I hear you. Yeah,
I aim and then I miss a lot of times that I aim. Okay. Most of the time that I aim, I miss.
Well, you're like kind of my sister too. You dig my sister
too.
Pardon?
You're a singer too.
No, not me. You're like my sister. So she twirls a lot of plates. She's got a lot of plates twirling right now. You're like,
literally?
Figuratively. No, figuratively. Like just a lot of things that she does.
Okay, and I got this one. Sisters, sisters, there were never such devoted sisters. Never had to have a chaperone, no sir. I got to keep my eye on her. Should I keep going or no?
I love it. Yeah, one more round. No one said a name, right?
Caring every little thing that we are wearing. When a certain gentleman arrived from Rome, I wore the dress and she stayed home.
Yes. Go, Mindy. Mindy, thank you. Give it up for Mindy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hang 1 second. I'll say goodbye. Goodbye to the chat. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad, Astral. I hope you finished your furniture. She's assembling furniture. I hope it went well. Bing and Danny. That was the movie. Aw, love it. Thank you so much, Minnie. We'll see you soon, chat. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I'm live at Synaptic Circle with Jessica Jones and Barry Littleton, and we're talking 80s movie cryptids. So see how I go all over the place? I love it. I'll talk to you later. See you tomorrow.